Hey mini enthusiasts, how you doing? Welcome back, I hope you're well and I hope you're having a great day. Look at the state of this place. It's unbelievable. It never usually looks like this. I've been getting really stuck in. I haven't had a chance to tidy up and it's just, as you know, if you know me, it's really unusual for my garage to look like this. So OCD's getting the better of me. I need to have a massive tidy up, which I'm going to do in a moment, but I won't film it because quite frankly, that's quite boring. But I bet you can't guess what we're going to do in today's video. That's right, we're going to chop the front end off. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone that regularly comes along, views the videos, leaves me a comment. Remember, if you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. Please remember to give it a thumbs up and hit that bell notification button because it all helps. So without further ado, let's get into chopping this front end off. Catch you in a moment. Right, so I just took the exhaust and obviously the front bumper and the front number plate off. We'll take the wheels off in a moment because you've got to get up behind there to make the slits for the front end. But if you were just wondering, if you've not seen this before, so we're going to take the bonnet off. Now what I do when I take the bonnet off, the bonnet fits quite nicely and it can be a useful guide for lining the front end back up and making sure it's all okay. So what I do is I drill 2 3mm holes through the hinges. They go through the hinge and the bonnet, and then when you reassemble it, or even when you haven't got the wings on, I can put the bonnet back on, I can make sure it's aligned with the drill bits in there, and then I can, when it comes to putting the front wings and front panel on, I've got a reference point. It's rough, it's not perfect, but it does at least give you something to sort of line back up with. So next bit, we need to get the headlights, grille, lights, disconnect the battery. Yeah, let's get going. Right, so took off a little bit more than you would need to if you were just removing the front end. You wouldn't need to remove the distributor and alternator and that sort of thing, but the engine's coming out anyway. It just frees up a little bit of room for me. Obviously, you've got to unpick the wiring loom. This wiring loom is a mess. It might get replaced. It's all been chopped and hacked about at the front, as they usually are, to be honest. It's, you know, pretty standard for a Mini. The other thing is to remove the air ducting as well. So you've got a ducting that runs up on the inside of there. And obviously you've got the ducting on the inside of the wing here. But now that is pretty much ready to come out. We've unbolted the front teardrop mounts because they hold the front end on, so they need to come off. You can either unbolt them from the front panel or where the bolt goes through into the subframe. It's up to you. I need to just take off the aerial. I haven't done that yet, but the next bit we're going to do is we are just going to carefully slit round below the join for the scuttle panel. We're going to slit along the top here all the way down, and what I'll actually do is I'll step down and cut inside here. You don't need to do that. I'm only doing that because I might save this front end for a bit of wall art, so it keeps it all nice. You don't need to do that. You can just slit all the way along. Now the important bit is you need to slit down inside of here as well. So there's a tab which runs from the front panel onto the inner wing, and if we look inside the inner wing, there's also these ears here that you need to slit down as well. Hope that comes out okay on the camera. It's a bit dark. Let me grab my light. So you also need to slit these ears as well that go down here, either side. And that should be the front end ready to pretty much come off. Let's get on with it. Also, just worth a mention, if you have an internal bonnet release, obviously you need to take the bonnet release cable off. We're using a 1mm, I call them slit discs, they're cutting discs. Obviously don't forget your PPE. Could be quite nasty, this. Right, sorry chaps, I forgot to hit record on the camera. So I've slit along just outside the scuttle there. I've slit along the top of the wing. Slit down into that corner there. Same again on the other side. Obviously the A panel's still on this side, so I've slit down the side of the A panel. When you slit along the top of here, obviously I forgot to hit the record button, but you've seen it when I've cut front ends off before. It smokes like a good one, and that's because there's like this what is it? It's like sealer in here. It's really thick. It's standard, but when you cut through it with a slitting disc, it makes loads and loads of smoke. So we need to slit down the front panel, slit the ears off either side. I will hit play on the camera this time, and then the front end should be ready to come off. Right, just to show you the detail, because I know a lot of times people say we should show the detail a bit more. So, angle grinder slit disc, you can get it up inside there, and you can go up and down and take that front tab off. And if we look on the inside of the wing, that's the cut for the ears, so just straight down there, and you can see that tab inside there. Not difficult to get off. Right then, it's off. Absolutely no clickbait. Oh man, what the, oh, Jesus. Right, okay, so there's the front end off. Like I said on this, the front end actually isn't that bad, but both wings are dented. It's got filler in the front here. That's not the original line, that's a filler line. You can see rust around there, rust on the seam there. And I just thought I might as well do the front end while I'm here. It's probably got to come off for other repairs anyway. And yeah, I've certainly had much worse front ends than that. If you're curious about how it comes off, let me just turn it over so you can see on the inside. So they're the slits we put up the front panel. That's the slit on the ears at the front, both sides. You can see the subframe mounts are still on. And for a couple of people that asked actually, so that floor toe board is all split. So it's got rubber mounts on the front teardrop mounts. It then has poly mounts on the tower bolts. It's got poly mounts between the subframe towers and the tower bolts both sides, and it's solid mounted at the back. That's probably the worst combination you can have in mixing it all up like that. It's either all solid, all poly, or all rubber. As soon as you start mixing up materials, that's when it all starts moving around and flexing and stuff like that, and you get problems. So yeah, genuinely a bit gutted. I'm very, very surprised that is not the original front end. So this is definitely the original scuttle on the car. It's got the chassis number stamped in it. And when I looked at the welds along the inside of here, they are really neat and tidy. And I thought that was the original front end, but it's not. And I can tell because of the way this ear is welded onto the front panel and down the bottom here. And in fact, when I look on the other side, I can actually see the original ear which they've welded over the top there. So it's had a front end. It may not have, I guess it could not have had wings before. It could have just had that front panel. I don't know why they would just do that. So what's getting me down, what's depressing me? So we knew about this side. We knew about this flitch panel in here. Closing panel's just about all right. I managed to poke a little hole up in the corner there, but in general, that's not too bad at the top here. We got the hole in the shock mount. We need to clean up this bit here. That's not too bad, but we've got all the floor repairs this side. When I go round to the other side though, look at this disaster. Same sort of thing, but it is really, really rotten round here. And look, right at the very top there as well. Closing panel's gone. And that'll be gone right up to the top of the windscreen. We've got the usual inner wing behind the shock mount. I'm a bit gutted about that because I was hoping to save the scuttle. It's got a bit of surface rust on the scuttle, or a bit of bubbling, and I wasn't really sure how bad that was. But to do that repair right up underneath there, you've got to get the closing panel out, you've got to get this corner off the scuttle. I'm going to end up putting a whole scuttle on it, ain't I? Yeah, so that's how you take the front end off a Mini. Hopefully, if you're doing this job, you're a bit luckier than me and it's not rotten as a peach inside there as well. But it is what it is. It's a Mini. It's to be expected. This car is over 30 years old. And yeah, can't complain. That's what car restoration's all about, isn't it? I couldn't leave it there. I'm curious about these wings because this has still got that original mastic in there that goes up against there, and it smokes like a good one when it comes out. I'm pretty sure when someone rebuilds it, they don't put that back in again. And the join of the wings is spot on. It's like it's original. It's not been seam sealed or anything like that. So I decided to look a little bit further. You can see the same on this side. There's no sealer down there. But we've got the blobs of sealer in the corner. This is what I'm talking about. So I've decided to look a little bit closer, and interesting. So I don't know whether you can see this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There's 3 lips there. There shouldn't be 3 lips there. There's 3 lips on the other side. And again, we've got the little telltale signs of where it's got filler in it, the little worms of filler where it's come through holes. So those, as I thought, those wings along the front there, they've got filler in them. But someone has replaced that front panel at one time, and they've not done the wings. Pretty sure these are the original wings, and the front panel has been replaced at some stage. I don't know why. It makes me feel a little bit better seeing that there's 3 layers there, because it makes it feel like it's worthwhile doing. And as you can see, this front panel is all twisted anyway. I reckon someone's towed it. They put a rope around the front panel and pulled it out, and that's what's bent that all about. Very much the same on Bruce, actually. So I feel a little bit better now. I feel a little bit justified in replacing the front end.